Hello, and welcome to the Connect podcast, the weekly podcast for the California MBA, featuring one-on-one interviews with movers and shakers in the mortgage industry. I'm Susan Milazzo, CEO of the California MBA, and I'm very happy that you could join us today. Before we get to today's guest, I'd like to thank our Connect podcast sponsor, Incelerate.
Thanks, Susan, and thanks for listening. This is Josh Wren, CEO and founder of Incelerate. We're grateful for our partnership with the CMBA and are committed as a company to help lenders close more loans. We do this with our customer experience platform that has a CRM, lead management, marketing, automation, robust content library, desktop and mobile applications. We do this to help you engage and stay connected to your current borrowers, referral partners, past borrowers, and potential new ones. If you want to find out why we're the fastest growing CRM provider in the mortgage industry, please reach out to us and ask for a demo.
Thank you, Josh. And that brings me to today's guest. I'm very happy to welcome Jason Kay from FHFA to Connect. Welcome.
Great. Well, thanks, Susan. Thanks for having me. It was great meeting you in Nashville and getting to know a little bit more about your organization. So thanks for the invite.
Yeah, thank you. That was great. What a great convention. I think Nashville was a great city to hold a convention in, and it was great to get to meet you and your team while we were there. I hope that you had a good time kind of interacting with some of your industry there. Looked like you were really busy.
Yes, very much so.
So Jason, I always like to get started and find out how people kind of got into the industry, and certainly you've had a long history with the regulatory side of the mortgage industry. So I'd love to hear about your career path.
Sure. Well, great. Well, yes, I've been in Washington now probably over 20 years, 30 years as a regulator, spent most of it at FDIC, been over at FHFA for just over 2 years now. And, had some familiarity with the GSEs and the business models, but it's been a lot of new and interesting things that I've learned over the past 2 years. Much more, what I'd say, mortgage centric. So, but being able to, apply a lot of what I learned from the FDIC over here, I think has been, it's been very helpful.
Yeah. Long time kind of focusing, I guess, just on one segment of the lending industry, right? Because you've gone from kind of FDIC with everything to just kind of only focused in the mortgage industry. So yeah,
and clearly have learned that the mortgage business is complicated.
Yeah,
very important. Home ownership clearly something that is key, but the process is very involved and somewhat complex, and seems like a good area for our new fintech office to spend some time seeing where the technology can be used better to create greater efficiencies. So, yeah.
Right. And that is just the use of technology, I think, is just number one priority for like all of my members and lenders that I speak with them. And, you have recently assumed this role of head of Fintech Strategy at FHFA. So can you share with us kind of what your primary goals will be for this role in 2023?
Sure. So primary roles, and just, before we set up the office in July, I spent a fair amount of time with other agencies, the SEC, FDIC, OCC, some of the other regulatory agencies that have similar fintech innovation offices to really find out why did they set it up, and has it been, has it added value? And I think to a person, each of the agencies said it really has provided value. It's provided key policymakers with better insight as to how technology is shaping the landscape for the entities of which they regulate, and both creating opportunities and challenges, and that having that ability to go deeper on the tech has helped make better informed policy. And so Director Thompson said, that's something that I think we could benefit from as well. So let's set it up. let's focus on a few concrete areas. Start off with something nice and easy, like the mortgage process. Just kidding. but
Right,
figured
simple.
see if there's anything. So we started doing our homework, and I found first that there's a lot of mortgage tech companies already out there. We looked at a few papers, and there was hundreds of people that were involved in making the process more efficient. So first thought was, gee, there might not be much for us to do. And then we started the engagement with stakeholders and doing some more research and looking at how long it takes to close a mortgage and what the cost, how much it costs. And looking at those numbers, seeing like 45 days, that hasn't changed much, a little bit up and down, but over 7 to 10 years, seeing that number not changing much and that costs going up a lot seemed to indicate that perhaps there is more that can be done to make things more efficient, and perhaps tech is a solution here in some of these areas. So
right, and I know when you and I and your team met in at the MBA convention, I was sharing with you our mortgageinnovators.com website that has a wide variety of technology solutions there too. And I know that your team was kind of taking a look at that to kind of get an idea of what companies are, providing what services in different categories in the industry. So glad that you can use that as a resource as well.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think lenders still talk with me about, I'd love to get your opinion, is kind of the adoption of technology. So what factors do you think are impacting or streamlining the adoption of technology with lenders?
Yeah, so I think you're right. The adoption seems like that's perhaps one of the biggest challenges. How to get a seamless adoption throughout the organizations. In talking to people at Nashville and other conferences, that it's more than just buying a software off the shelf and then saying, okay, now we've got it figured out. And so, how some of the different vendor softwares even interact with each other. There's so many things that might seem very easy at first glance. And then when you talk to the practitioners, the lenders, or the people that are really having to deal with it, you find out it's not that simple. And so, how can we make it simpler? How can we, where are there the barriers? Where are there areas where the enterprises, which are doing some phenomenal work on automated underwriting and the like, are those things connecting up across the board at lenders of all sizes? Or is there disconnects? Or it's like, yeah, that seems like a great tool, but we're really not exactly sure how we could best capitalize on it. And so, to have those discussions to make sure that everybody is sort of speaking in the same language, so to speak, to find out if there's ways to apply some of these tools like day one certainty and AIM. Some of these programs the enterprises offer seem like they would make a much more streamlined mortgage process. But when you look at the top line numbers, it doesn't look like that's happening in a meaningful way. So like one of the first things we want to focus on is something like that. Like, why is that the case? So we're going to spend some time with the enterprises, do some tech sprints, and maybe really focus on some of this direct data validation work in the beginning to sort of see, how is that working? And where is it? Where can it be improved or streamlined to make it more usable and effective? So, so we want to really kind of drill into those things. This is not going to be like a crypto shop. There's a lot of other regulators in town that are dealing with that, and there's a lot of fun issues there. We're really going to focus on the technology and the services that I think are really valuable in the mortgage space. We're going to start with that. I think there's a lot that we're going to learn there.
So many expectations of consumers, right, to use technology for any sort of purchase. I mean, and just of course escalated through our global pandemic. But I look at our adult children, and they don't go Black Friday shopping, right?
Right.
Everything they get is on their phone, or they'll do Cyber Monday or whatever. But it's like everybody wants technology, and so the mortgage industry has definitely made huge strides towards being that being that segment of the economy that also provides a lot of technology solutions.
Yeah.
What role do you feel fintechs play in assisting with the modernization of this industry?
Yeah. So that's a good question. It's one of the things that we are looking at. We want to study and understand better. It definitely feels as if that disruptor model is something that they play and can play successfully to at least get some interesting ideas on the table. But also what's important in this business, especially with the GSEs, is, how to do these things at scale. So there's a lot of great ideas. But how can we take those that really have, some promise and scale it up to some of the large portfolios that we're dealing with at the GSEs. So, but there's a lot of good ideas, and just in meeting with several of fintechs and startups and vendors, there's clearly people that have been working in the industry for a while that have said, why not this? Or, geez, why can't we make this process more seamless like it is in other businesses? And so, I think that's positive.
Right. Yeah. And so many new companies. There was a lot of new companies at the MBA convention.
Yeah.
We're going to be probably welcoming them to our big Mortgage Innovators Conference in June. Of course, I'm excited to be welcoming you to our Mortgage Innovators Conference next June to participate in our VIP Mortgage Innovation Roundtable at the conference. So can you share with us why you feel it's important to participate in that VIP Mortgage Innovators Roundtable at the event?
Sure. Well, first, it was as we were doing some early work and really trying to see, where are some of the venues that we could really make an impact. In other words, connect with key participants and get our message out there, and also get to talk with people. And your event definitely, jumped out at me as a place that we needed to get to. And also just your podcast, which, I've been spending a lot of time listening to many of your guests, because, there's a lot of good industry mortgage and mortgage tech knowledge. So I spend a lot of time on my morning jogs listening to your guests, and it's been very helpful. So you definitely, the California MBA clearly is a spot that we wanted to target as a place to really begin, what will hopefully be a long-term engagement. So thanks again for having us.
Of course, yeah, and we're ready to support your efforts in any way that we can. I think that through our, mortgageinnovators.com, we've got a lot of resources for you. And again, look forward to kind of putting our roundtable together for the big event next June. So Jason, thank you so much for joining us on Connect today. It's been great.
Susan, thank you very much, and looking forward to coming out to Anaheim.
Okay. All right. Happiest place on earth. Come on. We're all excited. We can go to Disneyland afterwards. And thanks to all of you for joining us on today's podcast episode. To access any of our Connect episodes, you can follow us on our YouTube channel. We're also available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. That's it for this week, and we'll see you next time on Connect.